Hey folks, today I'm going to give you a quick tour of Anchor Down RV Resort in Dandridge, Tennessee. Now, if you're like me, I had never heard of Dandridge before. It is 30 minutes east of Knoxville, Tennessee, to give you some perspective. And this is a really beautiful RV resort. It's got some great views. It's almost like built into the side of a ridge that goes down to a lake, Douglas Lake. It's a man-made reservoir, beautiful lake. And then off in the distance, you've got the Smoky Mountains. So really pretty views. And this was probably our fourth or fifth time we've stayed here over the years. I think the first time we came was back in 2016, which I think was pretty close to when they opened up. And so they've really developed it out over the years. And we hadn't been in several years because it was so booked up. But one of the things that I was reminded of upon coming back is that this place has some amazing views throughout the park. You know, a lot of RV resorts you go to, they have their premium sites where you've got the views, and then you've got all the other sites that are kind of mixed into the middle where you're just looking at each other and there's really nothing to see. But the way this whole property is developed, everything is sloping down toward the lake. It's almost like stadium seating. So, I think wherever you pick a spot, you're not going to be just staring at your neighbor. You're going to have a view, and I'll show you that a little bit more on our site that we stayed at this last time here. But the sites you're looking at right now are along the 40s, the high 30s, 40s going into the 50s, and I think these are probably some of the best sites on the property where you've got a view out the back, looking over the lake, looking off into the Smoky Mountains in the distance, and a lot of them have fireplaces on site. Just a really nice view out the back. So if you can get a site in the 40s, in the 50s and 60s, I think those are going to be some of your best sites, but they're very popular, so they do book up very quickly. Now we'll fast forward just a little bit here, but you're looking at sites 55, 56, 57, 58, and 59. Just imagine being pulled up here in one of these sites with the rear living floor plan and just having all those views out the back. Really incredible. Now I'll come back and show you some more of the sites and what I'm going to call that main section there. But first I'm going to take you all the way up to the highest section. These are going to be sites 1 through 29. And I don't believe these sites were developed fully the first time that we came back in 2016, but these sites are all at the highest point of the development. And I mean, you can look around, you just got views in every direction there. Some really nice mature vegetation on these sites here in the upper section. Again, these are sites 1 through 29, and we'll fast forward and skip around. One side note I'll throw in here is the resort staff here, I think, is some of the friendliest staff at any resort, any campground that I've ever been to. Sometimes you go to a nice resort and you almost feel like you're an inconvenience for the staff, even if you have a small request. But here, the staff consistently across the board, everyone is just so friendly. They just have this attitude of, we want to serve you and help you enjoy your stay here. So I really appreciate that a lot. But I wanted you to really see the views that you get up here, especially looking toward the east. You catch some really pretty sunrises in the morning hours there. And then once you leave this upper section, you can kind of get a sense for where what I'm going to call the main section is. Now these sites are going to be starting in the 30s and then going all the way up to, I believe, 138 is the last one. So this kind of seems to me to be the main section of the development. And again, what really impressed me that I was reminded of after staying here most recently is just that you get views even when you're in one of the center sections here, even when you're kind of in the middle of everybody else. And I'll show you that at our site here in just a little bit. So these sites you're looking at right now are on my right in the low 80s, 81 to 87, and then on the right 30 to 36. And then look at these corner sites. You're looking at site 37 and 38 there on the corner. And then on my left is going to be the 40s going into the 50s. And then we'll hit some of those aisles on the right here in just a little bit. Now, the first time we stayed here back in 2016, we were in site 41, which has a fireplace out the back. And you'll notice a lot of the sites have its own private fireplace. And what's really unique is all of them are just a little bit different. So, I mean, somebody was really creative, really skilled as a mason, and I don't think any two of them are alike. They're all very unique. So if you can book a site with a fireplace, I highly recommend it. It just really makes for a unique ambience at your campsite there. And then a lot of the other sites are going to have a fire pit sunk into the ground, and of course you can determine all that off the resort map. Now we're going to finish up this loop with sites moving into the 60s on the left, and then on the right sites from 132 going down to 124. And then I'm going to flip around and go back the opposite way so you can get a really good sense of the views here. But you can see, especially on the sites on the right, how they're terraced and sloped on the paths leading up to them. And so they did a great job developing the property to make sure that everybody gets a real nice view. Then here we are where everything starts, just after the bathhouse. Looking at the sites, you got site 80 on the right there, and then on the left you've got sites in the 80s going up into the 90s. And I mean, just check out how well the property was developed. They really were trying to maximize views going all the way down. So I really like that a lot. Again, on the right, you're going to be looking at sites in the high 70s, 77, 76. Now, on our most recent visit, we stayed at site 96, right on the end there in the aisle. And I got to confess, like I said, we hadn't been to Anchor Down in several years. I did not have high expectations for what the views would be like at site 96. I thought it was kind of right in the middle of everything. I figured we're just going to be staring at the back of someone's RV. And so I was really pleasantly surprised, because I just forgot about how well they developed this property and how it's just kind of terraced, like stadium seating going all the way down. So you really do have some great views. And even if you can only book a site in the middle section, in the 90s or in the 100s somewhere, I still think it's well worth it, especially with all the amenities. And I'll talk about those here in just a minute. And we'll fast forward through some of this again, but I wanted you to see what I think are the premium sites at Anchor Down. If you can book one of these, you're looking at the high 60s on the right, and then we'll be going down into the 50s all the way down to the low 40s and high 30s. And really this whole corner strip coming around the bend, I mean, you just get these spectacular views of the lake. You're up higher, you're elevated. And then I love the Smoky Mountains, off in the distance there. Some really nice sunrises. And really what I think I like most about Anchor Down is it's almost like you're getting a double play. A lot of resorts you go to, you've got a lake to look at, which is nice, or maybe you've got mountain views, and that's nice too. But here you've got a lake and mountains, so you really get the best of both worlds. And not only that, but you're elevated, so you're kind of looking down into the lake, and then you see the mountains, and I mean, they are way off in the distance, several layers of them, and so you get some really just stunning sunrises. Again, you're looking at sites in the 50s here on the right and 40s, and I really think if you can book one of these, they're probably some of the best on the property. Well, I'm going to show you our site where we stayed most recently. You're looking at sites on the right there, site 88 going up to 95, and then on the left, site 102 going down to our site at the very end there, site 96. And I was really pleasantly surprised, like I said, with the views there. I mean, I don't think the video is going to do it justice, but it really is like stadium seating with all the different sites, the way they're laid out there. And so I don't think you're going to be disappointed even if you're on the intersection. So this is site 96, right on the end there. It's got a little sunken fire pit. You can see beautiful stamped concrete. I'll tell you more about that later. But I wanted to show you what it looks like inside the RV, because again, I was really impressed with the views. I mean, I can see the lake from my site, even though I'm in the center section surrounded by RVs. And I think that's one of my favorite aspects of Anchor Down RV Resort. Even if you're staying in one of the inner sites there where you're surrounded by other RVs, I think you're more likely to have a view here at Anchor Down compared to another RV resort where maybe only 10% of the sites have a decent view. So I really like that a lot. And then another thing that really stands out to me at Anchor Down is just the landscaping, the hardscaping. They've got such a nice mixture with all the different stones, the rocks, the stamped concrete. Each site is unique and different. Someone was very creative in, planning this all out, laying it all out. But I think the rocks and the mix with the grass, and then like I mentioned, some of the sites have their own freestanding fireplace. And just here's an example. I mean, check out how creative this one is. They're all just a little bit different and just adds a lot of ambience to your campsite. And of course, the fundamentals are really important to get right at an RV resort, and Anchor Down does a great job there. Really solid hookups, really clean the way everything's laid out there. But next, let me give you a quick tour of the amenities, and I'll show you this last section of sites on the way there. This is going to start out at site 139 and then all the way up to 175 as we make our way down. And you know, in my opinion, these sites are still nice, but I think I would probably opt for a site in the center section over this lower section here. You know, there's going to be a little bit more traffic with people going to the amenities and whatnot. They're still nice sites though. So starting out with the amenities, you've got some paddleboard rentals, kayak rentals there. And it's my understanding in the warmer months that they have kind of a water park set up in the lake there with some inflatables. And then there's a beach area that they've developed there that's terraced, really large space there, a little volleyball court set up. And you know, I really like the way they developed this property out with the name Anchor Down. And then you've got these, you know, big ropes going between the posts. Just has a really nice feel with all the rocks and everything. Then there is a pavilion over here with rocking chairs and tables. Of course, you can see there's a playground area as well. And just really nice, even with all the grassy hills that they've got up above there. Then there's also a boat and jet ski dock, as well as a fishing pier. But let me show you the pool area next. And again, just check out these views. You're elevated. You've got the lake in the background, the Smoky Mountains beyond that. And this is a decent sized pool. I mean, considering the number of sites, I think there's 175 total. This is a decent sized pool, you know, considering all the campers that are going to be staying here. You got a water slide, of course, plenty of lounge chairs, kind of a little kiddie pool, a beach sloped entry there. So really nice pool area for the kids. And you know, camping is definitely a family focused activity. And so I always appreciate it when RV resorts have amenities where they've planned ahead and thought through, you know, what can we do to offer for the kids, and to really have, you know, families come here and just have a nice time relaxing and spending quality time with one another. And so I think they did a great job with this pool area. It's, you know, sized appropriately given the number of campsites. And again, just look at those views out in the distance. I mean, you've got not only the lake, but then you've got the Smoky Mountains beyond that. And so the views are just spectacular here. All right, well, let me close out the tour by going back the opposite way, and then we'll finish up at our campsite. But in addition to the amenities that you're seeing here, Anchor Down is about 15 minutes to the city of Kodak. There's a bunch of restaurants there, you know, and stores if you needed to do any shopping. And then really the big attractions, I think, are Pigeon Forge, which is about 35 minutes away, depending on traffic, of course. And then if you want to go a little bit further to Gatlinburg, it's about 50 minutes. And then about the same to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, depending on which entrance you go to. But yeah, probably about 50 minutes. So that's my tour of Anchor Down RV Resort. And I really think this is a great RV resort, especially if you're looking for a gateway, you know, to Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, that sort of thing. And really, I think what makes this resort stand out among others is really just the views and the number of sites that have a view while you're staying here. And so I really think that makes it a very special place to stay. Well, I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you have any questions, be sure to drop me a comment below. And as always, thanks for watching.